My Lords, briefly, because very good points have been made. I am tempted to want to say, yes, what we need to do is increase penalties, or what we should do is threaten people with prison, because fare dodging does drive me mad, particularly on the tube. And it's partly the kind of brazen, quite violent and intimidatory way that it happens for ordinary people, that you kind of are pushed out of the way and you just don't know what to do. And we're not all Robert Jenrick with a camera, if you know what I mean. So you want to intervene, you want to say something, you want to have something happen, but it doesn't happen. And so what's occurred is a normalisation of antisocial behaviour. The difficulty, therefore, is whether you can legislate against that, because it seems to me that partly, at least, this is cultural, and that we have a situation of a kind of looking away from members of the public. But I do think there's a problem with staffing. Whether TfL staff in particular are intimidated or whether they're indifferent, it's hard to tell, but I can assure you they're not intervening very much. And even despite the fact that this has had a lot of publicity recently, I've seen it carries on, it seems to me, all the time. And even if you go to talk to the staff, they look the other way. So it's one of those things. And then you don't want to be a grass and so on and so forth. I mean, that's the way. I don't mean you, if I can. I can see people feeling, I don't necessarily want to go and report on that person. I'm not sure what to do. In other words, the public are stymied. They're not quite sure how to respond. And it's ironic because we're constantly told that we should respect staff, public-facing staff, and that's absolutely right. But if the public-facing staff don't respect us as members of the public, it makes it difficult. So I'm not convinced, despite the good intentions of this amendment, that I think it's the solution, because I'm fed up of laws being added to the statute book that then nobody enforces. It seems to me to bring the law into disrepute. I also just wanted to add a note about the difficulties of buying tickets and knowing whether you're using the right ticket in terms of National Rail. I can assure you I've made mistakes. But one of the reasons why one can make a mistake is if you've got a fixed time and a fixed ticket and the train is then late and then you get on another train, you actually can be reprimanded for being on the wrong train when in fact it's just arrived at the time that the train that you were going to get should have arrived or hasn't arrived. I mean, I won't bore you with the details, but anyone who's travelled on trains regularly will know what I'm talking about. And then to be kind of sneered at by a member of staff as though you're kind of... So it does seem to me that the danger here is that the innocent could indeed find themselves at the receiving end of a more draconian enforcement, whereas the culprits, as it were, gets away with it. I also wanted to just draw attention to, you know, the dangers of fast-track court processes. I really hate this single justice procedure, and I thought it was worth noting that the TfL are the people who use that most to prosecute people. And so you could say that, you know, when the Noble Lord Blencathra made the point about, you know, you can appeal to magistrates. Well, not in that instance you can't, because actually you're not in the courtroom. It's all happening behind your back. And so I just worry about injustice occurring. But on the other hand, I would like to hear from the government what strategy they have got for really not relying on one person with a video camera to expose this, but to have a campaign about fare dodging would do no harm, because it is public money. The public do get very irritated by it, and so I don't think we need an amendment, but I wouldn't mind some action to be taken.